Bring in Michael Irvin, the playmaker, and Michael joins us now. Mike, let me start there. The jumping over the offensive line over the center to block the kick, as we saw with Denver in New Orleans. Do you like that?
I don't know. You move the kick back. You want to make it more exciting. We saw Cam Chancellor do that, and now we're seeing guys do that at crucial moments. I don't know how I feel about that, Dan. I want you to be able to use your physical gifts, athletic ability. If you can jump like that, be able to jump like that. But I just don't know. I want you to get a chance to get that thing off. So I'm kind of neutral on this.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see any kind of rule changes in the offseason with it. The fact that we've moved it back so there's more room for you to be able to jump, and the kick is going to be at a lower angle. But,
do you think the guys that came up with this never thought that some of these dudes would have this kind of leaping ability? They were like, it's almost like they didn't think this could happen.
Well,
what I mean?
But, Mike, you're going to go to the Combine, and you're going to look for somebody who's got an unbelievable vertical, a special teams guy,
right.
and just say, all right,
right.
I got a 42-inch vertical. All right, you can jump over some offensive linemen, and that's a great weapon to have.
Right, and think about this now. In certain situations, like it was yesterday, who cares if you get the penalty? Try to make, this is a game winner. So who cares? So you know what I mean? So it encourages you to keep doing that and keep breaking the rule. It's just a bad rule in that sense.
Let me give him the official introduction. He's Michael Irvin, NFL Network analyst, Hall of Famer. You can see Mike on Sunday, NFL Network, NFL Game Day morning starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. All right, the Cowboys MVP is...
Man, you can see me anywhere and everywhere, man. I do too much.
You can see Mike everywhere. He's omnipresent. The Cowboys MVP is...
The league MVP. Ezekiel Elliott. That's just and I get so tired of us always going to a quarterback for the MVP. Now, saying that Prescott certainly deserves an honor like Rookie of the Year, but Dak Prescott, as great as he's been playing, would not be doing the things he's doing without Ezekiel Elliott. And that's not a knock on Dak Prescott. I mean, the only quarterback that can win without a good running game in this NFL is Tom Brady. Every other quarterback we talk about needing that kind of support. So I don't understand why when it comes to MVP voting for the league, we discount the very thing that we say these quarterbacks need the most.
Well, they need a great offensive line, so we're discounting the Cowboys' offensive line, which to me is the MVP for the Cowboys this year.
Well, but now listen, let me say it to you this way. That offensive line, that MVP you just called, was here last year. They didn't look like an MVP. You know what I mean? Not that they're not a great offensive line. They are that. But it must be the marriage and the commingling of the two.
But Mike, who was running the football last year and who was throwing the football last year for Dallas? So you can be a great offensive line. I still have to have people who are in place who are capable of doing it. But you can't. It's rare to have it the other way around, Mike, with a bad offensive line and a talented quarterback and running back.
Well, but Dan, listen, let me tell you something. It's just chicken and egg right here, buddy. Okay, how great that offensive line is, and we have the best. If you're a great offensive line and you're moving everybody, then the theory or the logic would be you can put anybody back there to run, and that's what the Cowboys thought. And then they fell to 4-12, and then got some knowledge and said, "Oh, well, maybe we made a mistake." You can't put anybody in back of a great offensive line. It has to match with the offensive line, and that's what makes Ezekiel Elliott. It's not just that they're blocking for him. He has the ability. He has the home run ability. He has his power running.
Oh, he's great.
His ability of picking up blocks. It's just incredible. I mean, it's phenomenal what this kid is doing.
Will Tony Romo start another game in Dallas in his career?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question, and I would say yes, he will start another game in Dallas, and maybe even this year. You know, if anybody can ever listen, this game's so tough. Very few quarterbacks play from week one all the way through to the end of your season. So, you have to always stay ready. But it's hard, if you're asking me, Dan, it's hard to pull that kid off the field right now when you're looking at a team that's 8-1 and doing the things he's doing. Because what you're getting now, you're getting the struggle. And the lessons come in the struggles. You get lessons in the struggles. I don't care what you say. You learn more on the things that you fail than the things that you succeed at. The lessons come in the struggle. So he gets the struggle, but he still gets the victory. It doesn't come any better than that.
Bigger win, Cowboys in Pittsburgh or the Seahawks in New England?
That's a good one, too, now. That's a great question. I would say the Seahawks in New England. The Cowboys in Pittsburgh is a big win because that's the best offense that they played, that this Cowboy team has faced. And that atmosphere was as close to a playoff atmosphere as you will get any time during this season. So those young guys needed to see that. But Seattle going to New England and beating New England, that's huge. I didn't think Seattle had the ability to beat New England like that. I didn't think they had the defense to press coverage and play the way they played, but they proved me wrong.
Yeah, I didn't think they could run the football like they did. I love this pro-size kid. We got him. We saw the Notre Dame USC game at Notre Dame, and he was the quickest guy on the field, and that's saying a whole lot with USC's talent out there. But they loaded him up, let him go. I thought the offensive line protected Russell Wilson. I love Doug Baldwin, but the guy who fascinates me more than anybody else on that team, Mike, Cam Chancellor.
Who?
Cam Chancellor.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I tell you, Dan, I told you that's the only dude that I've ever seen in the NFL that makes me question my courage. Like, okay, Mike, do you really want to go across that middle? You know what I'm saying?
Mike, who did you play against that questioned your courage? You mentioned Cam Chancellor. Was anybody you played against?
Maybe Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott. When I saw Ronnie Lott over there at what we call Red Right 262, that's a slant route. I would have to go to the line of scrimmage and say, man, I got to run this slant. And I would always need little Michael to show. Because big Michael's like, no, I'm not doing it. Then little Michael said, you either run this slant or we go back to the ghetto. Okay, now I run that slant. So I need little Michael to show up to remind me of the ghetto to have enough courage to go face the running lots of the world. That's just how that works.
Hey, I don't blame you, man. But Cam Chancellor hits people, and it hurts when he hits people. He's just different at that size, that ability. He just changes their defense. I love Bennett. I think Bennett is their best player on defense, but Chancellor is that X factor who just seems to take the air out of people, somehow, some way.
Figuratively and literally. Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
When he hits you, hit's supposed to feel and hurt when you feel them. He hits you, and it sounds like it hurts. It's one thing to have it feel like it hurts you. It's another thing when you hear it and you hear the pain in the sound that it hits. I mean, when you go to Seattle, Cam, he's a big dude, got this big old head that stands on his big old neck, and he's like, man, I don't want you to run into me. I mean, it's just phenomenal, man. If you ask me, I would love to. If I was starting the defense, that would be the guy that I would like to start my defense with.
I tell people, Mike, the hit he had on Edelman in the Super Bowl, and I give Edelman all the credit in the world because I think he knocked him out and he was on his feet, but Edelman held on to the football. It's one of the loudest hits I've ever heard in a football game, and Chancellor just smashed Edelman, and Edelman somehow kept his feet and gained some yards in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that Super Bowl, and I don't know how Edelman did that because the Super Bowl before that, when he smashed Demarius Thomas, it was a stop right there. You don't go anywhere else. I mean, he would hit anybody. He'll hit the little small white guy or the big black guy. It didn't matter. He's going to knock you out. I mean, he comes in and hits. I tell you, man, Dan, I'm telling you, Seattle without him is a different football team. But when he's back there, they really are the Legion of Boom.
One more item here. Aaron Rodgers, the finger pointing, or at least we're getting close to finger pointing here. What do you make of this vocal Rodgers? Is this the right tack to take?
There's a lot going on in Green Bay right now. There's a lot going on in Green Bay. And I'm finding out a lot about the inner workings and of everything over in Green Bay. I don't know. as a quarterback, I watched Tom Brady last night talk about that snap, that fumble, and he said, I was going left. My center thought I was going straight, and but he said, that's on me. That's on me. He took in all the blame. And I remember watching and thinking, I bet that center appreciates that. You know what I mean? Because when you're being led by a quarterback like a Tom Brady who stands up, and that was a crucial situation, and you just lost that game, and he stands out. He knows when that quarterback says that was on me, all this stops. You can't go anywhere else with it. But if he comes back talking about the center didn't snap the ball, I didn't get it right, now that's a whole other thing. So I myself, I like when the quarterback just shuts it down like that.
Mike, good to talk to you. Hope things are well, and hopefully get a chance to talk to you soon.
BP, it's all well when the Cowboys are winning like this, man. Everything, man. The weather's better here. Everybody's smiling as they drive through the streets. It's just good stuff. So it's all great.
I'll see you at the Super Bowl.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, Mike.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.